This is Twit.
Dennis in, how do you say that? Ruck, Oregon, is that right?
Roosh,
Oregon. Hi, Dennis.
Hi, Leo. You've been keeping my, you were keeping it going, my Windows 98 SE.
Oh, my goodness. Wow, that's an old-timer. Wow.
Anyway, I have a problem with, I don't use that anymore. It gave up the ghost about 10 years ago.
Oh,
but
good thing, too, because it's far from secure these days.
I know. I have a problem. I want to take some macro pictures of some gems and diamonds and so on and so forth. And I'd like to get as good a crystal clear picture as I can get with a point and shoot, because I have a Nikon a D3300, and I found out after I bought it that you have to buy a macro lens for it, and that's around $500.
Oh, man.
And so I'm thinking, well, some of these point and shoots, there might be one out there that can get down to macro, and you can actually see the facets inside of a diamond. Maybe that's too much to ask of a point and shoot, but I figured the only person in the world that would know is you.
Is that what you do? You take pictures of the facets of diamonds?
Well, I want to get it that clear. It shows up when you're putting them for sale. If you can see the overall stone and how it glitters and such, it's very appealing, and it makes people pay more attention than if you just have a blurry picture.
You bet.
So
there are many, many, many good point and shoots that do macro photography. That is actually something point and shoots do quite well. The idea of a point and shoot is you have one lens that has zoom, built in. Usually it's a motorized zoom. And then there will often be a setting, a macro setting on the camera. And so my first choice, let me just make sure, would be the Sony RX100 series. These are really good compact digital cameras. And one of the reasons I like it is it has a very high quality sensor, a 1-inch sensor. Sometimes the point and shoot cameras have kind of small sensors, and a small sensor for macro photography is not going to give you the best results. But I should check just to make sure. You know where I go to find this stuff out is I go to dpreview.com. Are you familiar with them?
No, but I can check.
They are a great camera review site. In fact, they have, one other reason I want to send you there is they have a video. We just interviewed them about macro photography. They have a very good video they put out last month on macro shooting. And they used in that one a Panasonic Micro Four Thirds camera, the Lumix. But it's an interchangeable lens, but a relatively inexpensive interchangeable lens camera that I like quite a bit. The Lumix DMC GX8. So it's a mirrorless Micro Four Thirds camera, which is a slightly bigger sensor, and that's a great choice. But I would still go to DP Review and look at the reviews of other point. This isn't a point and shoot exactly. It's kind of intermediate between a pro interchangeable lens camera. It does have interchangeable lenses, but priced a little bit more close to the point and shoots. The Sony is not going to be cheap. It's one of the more expensive point and shoots, but it's a very good point and shoot. Sony does make less expensive versions than the RX100. They even sell, I think the current RX100 is Mark 6, but you'll see they'll even sell the older Mark 3, 4, and 5, which will save you quite a bit of money. I just want to check the macro photography. It's my favorite point and shoot camera. And at that price, it better be. It's a fairly expensive one.
How expensive is it?
Well, if you get the latest model, it's going to be over $1,000. That's probably more than you'd want to spend. But if
I've already got that into my Nikon.
Well, you have, your Nikon. Just get a good macro lens. Oh, you don't want to spend the $1,000 on the macro lens. I get it.
It's $500, but I already spent, and they.
I understand. You can probably get a Mark 3 or 4 for a lot less. Let me see if they're still selling it. It's one of the nice things about these Sonys. When they put out the new ones, they still sell the old ones for some time. Looks like $600 thereabouts for a Mark 3, which is still a very good point and shoot.
Well, they have a Nikkor lens, an 85 millimeter macro f 3.5. Now I can get. I don't know if I can mention their name or not, but
sure.
Amazon carries the. They have where they've been like new, but they aren't, and you can get one for around $350, maybe $400.
Now we have a pro photographer in the chat room, Anthony Tortoriello. He's a really good photographer. He says he's not crazy about the Sonys for macro. He says the macro kind of stinks on the Sony RX. Believe me, Leo, but he is pointing to a website called photoworkout.com where they review the best macro photography cameras for 2018. And surprisingly, they recommend a camera that I use. I wouldn't have thought of. It's a very inexpensive camera. I really like the Olympus TG5. I carry it around. It's my waterproof tough camera. So it goes underwater and stuff. And they say this has a very good macro. And I can vouch for that. I've done some good macro shots. It has a minimum distance of 10 centimeters in normal mode, but you can get down to 1 centimeter in macro mode, which is pretty darn close to that diamond. I bet you could get the facets in there.
Well, believe it or not, I have an Olympus Camedia D360.
Oh my goodness! That's my first digital camera, practically.
1.3 megapixel.
I love that old camera.
And it still takes good pictures, but
yeah, they're only 1 megapixel though. That's the problem.
I used to take pictures of pretty good pictures, but I used to have it set up on a tripod, then go through a magnifier with lights, a magnifying glass, and believe it or not, you could get down pretty good. But Jesus. I don't even think.
No, that's as old as that Windows 98 SE computer you were talking about earlier.
Yeah,
I would take a look. I have to say, if this photo workout, photoworkout.com, best macro photography camera, their #1 pick, this Olympus TG5 is really a great point and shoot. I carry it around because it's, as I said, you can use it underwater. It's dust proof. $379, and it does. I know it does a great macro. I've used it for macro. I bet you if they like it, that's enough for me.
Okay, Olympus TG5.
The TG5. Yeah, I've recommended these for years as waterproof cameras, as tough dust-proof cameras. Who knew? They're also really good for point and shoot anyway. A really good macro. And I find the image quality very high, very good out of these. It's very crisp. The lens is fast. It's f2.0. Macro photography, I should explain, he kind of did when he said you want to be able to see inside the diamond, to see the facets inside the diamond. The best definition of macro photography is 1-to-1. That if you're taking a picture of a flower, it's the size of the flower in the image. If you're taking a picture of an ant, it's the size of the ant in the image. It's kind of magnified, basically. It's a lot of fun, macro photography, especially nature macro photography. So we'll put links to Ettore Aloha's picture recommendation, his macro recommendation from that website, Photo Workout, at our website, techguylabs.com.